So what kind of advice would you guys give to first-year students when it comes to them preparing for their exams?
I think every student, well, I know that every student is completely different, and what system works best for them is going to differ. For myself, I like to keep up with my readings. I do what I call like a Sunday review day every Sunday. I'll review what I read about or what was discussed in lecture for the week on the Sunday. But around exam time, maybe 2 or 3 weeks before exams, I will go back over the readings, look at what I've highlighted, the important parts, you know, write those down. I'll go over my notes, and I just give myself a lot of time to prepare for exams, make sure I do know the material, that I'm very familiar with it, and I've had great success with that method. What about you?
Well, for me, I've always just relied so much on my notes, and I always found, like, because it's really brief, I always found that if you use the textbook to clarify those notes, that way you're not like leaving little extra things unknown when you're going into the exam, because you're like, oh, okay, I don't need to know that, but you never know.
Yeah.
So for me, I always find it's good to just be as thorough as possible in my study, but at the same time, I always found that I shouldn't study like a day before an exam or anything like that. That's just not gonna cut it. I mean, like, that may have worked in high school, but like here, it's just such a mess. So I always find that it's good, like you were saying, to review your notes over and over again, because once it comes time for exam time, because all your exams are like kind of at the same block or like within a week or so, it's easier just to know the stuff and then just review it. And then when you go into the exam, you're not super stressed about every single subject that you have to like study for and things like that.
And I think by just writing brief notes, it does force you to go back into the textbook. So you're teasing out different ideas and you're looking for additional information. Is that kind of how you do it, Justin?
I like to follow something called the 24/7 rule.
Oh, okay.
Where you learn a new material, and within the next 24 hours you relearn it, and then within the next 7 days you relearn it again.
Oh, wow.
That's one of the, apparently it's one of the best ways to retain information. And so if you're constantly doing that through the semester, the information you'll be able to retain most of the information that you've learned throughout the semester, and it reduces the amount of time you need to study before an exam. Because it's like, you know, when you're going up to like, let's say your final exam is, as an example analogy, your final exam is on the 2nd floor. You wouldn't take one big step to get to the 2nd floor. You would take little steps all the way up there, and those 24/7 relearning the information as you're going through the semester are those little steps to get to that final exam and doing the best at it. So
that sounds fantastic. This is the first I've ever heard of this method, but I'm very open to try it, because it sounds like it could be a very effective way to learn, retain information, and also be able to recall that information when it comes exam time.
Yeah, and I find that's what works best for myself. Cool. And you know, I like to break it down scientifically, just because that's how I work.
Yeah,
and,
nice.
This 24/7 rule was given to me, and I know, works best for me. So
awesome.